What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, checking out the Xtuoc Seed J01 ultra budget friendly knife available on Amazon for $23, and they often run coupons on this particular model. So for example, at the time I'm uploading this video, there's a 20% off coupon. No code required. You just make sure to check mark that box before adding it to your cart. So I'll be sure to leave a link in the description if you're interested in picking this one up. Now with that coupon code, it ends up being under $20, so firmly in that ultra budget territory. And I've been kind of making a concerted effort to mix in more budget gear in the videos on the channel lately. So when Xtuoc reached out about checking this one out, I saw the price point of under $20. The materials used are great at the price point with the Micarta and the D2 steel, and I think just a good looking design overall. So I said go ahead and send it over. Available in two different colors, the black Micarta as well as green Micarta. Both have the red accent around the pivot, which looks really cool. It doesn't add anything functionality wise, but really draws the eye to the pivot and gives it a different kind of aesthetic from a lot of other knives that are out there. So I do like that. Both also have the black stonewash blade, which is one of my favorite finishes. I think pairs really nicely with the Micarta, especially with how this Micarta is finished. It's not ultra polished. It's kind of that softer, grippier Micarta, which I do like. And so I think that pairs nicely with that black stonewash. Now I will say I'm going to oil this one up after this video. I wanted to leave it as is for the video, but I do find with this drier Micarta, I like to oil it up. Just add some moisture. I think it probably preserves the life of that Micarta a little bit longer. Also gives it a deeper, richer look overall. So I definitely am going to add some mineral oil to this after the video. Now in terms of size on this knife, definitely a smaller knife at only 6.02 inches overall in that fully deployed position. A little bit bigger than your Baby Banter, which although design wise are very different, they have a lot of similarities in terms of just being small knives with small handles, a finger twirl that allows you to get a full 4-finger grip. But this one is a little bit larger and again, very different in terms of design. And so 6.02 inches overall, we have about a 3.5-inch handle. It's a nice wide handle at almost an inch wide and then about 0.57 inches thick, so it fills up the hand really nicely. If you use this finger groove behind the pivot for your index finger, you end up with a 3-finger grip. So my pinky's not on the knife at all. There is a lanyard hole back here, so if you're going to use that grip, maybe worthwhile to add a lanyard so your pinky has something to grip onto. And your thumb lands really nicely on the jimping. Not an ultra aggressive jimping, but it is very grabby, so nicely executed there. I, on the other hand, really prefer to get right up behind the cutting edge, and this one has a finger twirl, so definitely going to make use of that. And in this position, full 4-finger grip, incredibly ergonomic, really able to lock in nicely, feels great in hand. With that wider, thicker grip, it fills up the hand very nicely, and because the pocket clip is nice and centered on that wide handle, disappears behind your knuckles. And so very comfortable. The only thing I'm missing ergonomically in this grip is the jimping, and so you can see kind of where my thumb is landing. It's well past that point of jimping. Would be kind of nice to have a second section of jimping right here at the front of the thumb hole. Now my grip is pretty locked in. I'm not missing it that much, but it's nicely executed jimping, so definitely wouldn't mind seeing more of it. I like to, with my index finger, kind of pull back towards that pivot. That keeps me away from the cutting edge since there's no ricasso on this one, and really locks in the grip overall. So it does still feel very locked in, but I definitely wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more jimping there. In terms of that blade, D2 steel, drop point style blade, nice flat grind, black stonewash as previously mentioned, thumb hole on the deployment, and for the cutting edge, only about 2¼ inches. So we lose a lot of cutting edge to that finger twirl. That's a big trade-off. If you're someone who likes a 3 to 4 inch cutting edge, probably not the knife for you. But I find that 2¼ inches is plenty for 99% of the day-to-day uses I use a knife for. And so that's plenty for me. I think perfectly fine, really nicely executed there as well, and really good action on this one. So we have a liner lock. Hopefully you can see that pretty nicely here with some jimping. Good access, nice lockup overall. Drops shut, it's on bearings, and so it usually drops shut to about your nail, and then you can shake it the rest of the way, and so ultra smooth with those bearings. Have that thumb hole deployment, which they actually recommend using your middle finger for. They even have an illustration on the listing with the middle finger for that deployment, but you can use your thumb. Doesn't feel quite as grabby because the shape is definitely optimized for a middle finger, but just put the meat of your thumb in there, flick it open, you can do that as well. And the detent on here is really, really nice nicely done. And so just the right amount of pressure to flick that one open, not too loose. And that's one area where I think with these ultra budget friendly knives that a lot of times you miss out for. For example, the Ozark trail knife, I watched Tim's School of Fish video on that. The action required him to do a bunch of work to get it where he wanted it to be. Just wasn't very good out of the box. And they knocked this one out of the park. Really, really well done and well executed. And so definitely appreciate seeing that aspect of it as well. In terms of the back of the knife here, we do have that lanyard hole as previously mentioned. We also have a nice deep carry pocket clip that is reversible, so right or left hand carry there. It is a little bit springy, so I feel like if this starts getting caught up on your seat belt or whatever the case may be, this is one that will probably bend over time. Usually you can just take it off and bend it back, so I don't think going to be a major issue long term, but slides in the pocket easy and is a nice deep carry. Also very nice that it is reversible, but does feel just a little bit bendy overall. It does have the Xtuoc branding on there as well. Not a recognizable pocket clip. It's not ultra unique looking either, but it doesn't look like it's a clone of any other knife, which sometimes you see on these where they'll just use like the Civivi pocket clips or something like that from some other brands. And so overall, very impressed with this. I think at the price point, you can't go wrong. So definitely worth checking out if you're looking for small fifth pocket knife. This one fits squarely into that fifth pocket very, very nicely with or without that pocket clip. Just works really well as a fifth pocket carry. So if that's something you're looking for, definitely check them out. I'll leave a link to it down in the description, as well as their Instagram. They just started over on Instagram. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I think they mentioned that the previous account got restricted, like so many of us in the knife community. And so they started a new Instagram account, so I'll link to that one as well, as there's only a few followers and they're just getting started back up there. But let me know what you think of this one down in the comments below. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, joining the channel as a member. All help the channel out immensely, and of course I hope you have a great one. Take care.